We are now going to go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. EagleMortgageCompany.com is where you can find them in the virtual world. You can find them in the physical world at 114th and Davenport. But whatever world you like to live in, if you're going to buy a house, you want to definitely contact Eagle Mortgage because their mortgage brokers are very good listeners. Perhaps just as important, they're very good at knowing about home financing options, FHA, VA, conventional. They do all of that. And we encourage you to work with them if you are even thinking about buying a house. You can find them, like I said earlier, online at EagleMortgageCompany.com. All right, guys, well, let's get into it. Before we go into the construction and development news, I do have a couple of little breaking restaurant items. Hacienda Real, which is the Mexican restaurant that has been long anticipated on the corner of 78th and Cass Street, now has an opening date, Monday.
No way.
Yeah, they're opening Monday. And I actually went in yesterday and met the owners, and it looks great. And I think they're gonna do very well there. It's a former old Chicago space at 78th and Cass. Other restaurant news we have a Grow Omaha Eats with Sarah Baker Hansen restaurant review. This is brought to you by Cheer Athletics, which is one of the best all-star cheerleading gyms in the entire nation. The Omaha location is located at 146th and Gold Coast Road in Papillion. In this week's review, Sarah Baker Hansen takes down the Dundee Dell, the new Dundee Dell, and it's a positive review.
Actually lifts it up.
Lifts it up,
Doesn't
takes
take
it
it
down. Well, she took down a lot of the food that they serve there and a couple of the beverages. Anyway, good review, and I can't wait. I have not been to the new Dundee Dell.
I haven't either, and I was surprised to see her photo of the new space. That remodel, they did a great job.
It did.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. It's actually really great. So go there, get chicken tikka masala, no joke, and get yourself a good cocktail. They're really, really
I was
good.
kind of surprised that a lot of those scotches are really old.
You know,
You'd think with the new space and everything, they'd have more up-to-date scotches.
I think it works backwards with scotch.
Oh, okay.
In the review, she talked about chicken tikka masala actually being a stalwart of British pub culture.
Really?
Well, you think about it. There's a huge Indian influence in London.
It is
so
the
it makes
official.
a lot of sense.
I think it's the official dish of either England or the UK in general. I don't know, but it's a curry. Essentially, is the national dish.
Well, you can't go wrong with chicken tikka masala if they make it good.
If that fails, fish and chips might work too.
All right, so let's go into some of the news of the week. The big story that just broke yesterday late afternoon. City of Omaha announced that the city plans to lease temporary library space downtown at 1410 Howard Street. This is going to be a stopgap measure so that there is space for patrons to access library services downtown before the new library at 1401 Jones will be ready on March 1st. But see, there's a gap because we have also found out that the official start of demolition of the W. Dale Clark Library is October 1st. And but yet the 1401 Jones Library won't be available till March 1st. So this temporary leased space, it's getting kind of confusing because there's a lot of 14s in here, but 14th and Howard will be the library for a few months.
I'm trying to think of what space that is. It's not Patrick's Market because that's 1416.
It's right east of it. I think it's part, where there's that 80s flashback bar?
Yeah, I didn't know if that was it.
There were a couple buildings, little small historic buildings to the west, which were part of that renovation project. I believe it's in one or two of those.
It was the north side of the street. It's only like 2,500 feet.
And that's another First Management property, I believe. So
right.
Right there, right east of Patrick's is it's sandwiched in between, just like Jeff said.
So it's small,
It's a
but
good spot.
You'll be able to check out books, return them, and library services and computers and things like that.
But guys, one of the exciting things here to me is that I didn't think originally demo was going to start until closer to Christmas time. Now we're finding out that demo is going to start on October 1st. I find that very encouraging, because we got to get rid of that big concrete bunker before we can have Mutual start working on the skyscraper.
I agree.
All right. Well, other news on the docket right now, the massive Amazon Regional Distribution Center on the northeast corner of Highways 50 and 370 in Sarpy County it's pretty much done. When you drive by it, when you've been driving by it for the last couple of months, it looks done to me. But it will not be apparently operational until 2024. And this is because of a slowdown and supply chain issues and some of those related things.
It's kind of ironic, though. The company that basically controlled the concrete supply and steel supply for this region and probably other parts of the country is having supply chain issues. And I don't know if it's their logistics stuff or their computers and their robots and whatever, but it'll be interesting to see. And they said it's a possibility they might be able to speed it up a little bit, Jeff, but didn't you kind of find that weird?
I did. And the other thing that I find very interesting was that Amazon was in an incredible hurry to build that project. The day that it closed, they had scrapers on site because they were in such a hurry, and now it's just going to sit there for a while.
And this also affected the other two that were recently constructed in Council Bluffs and North 72nd as well, I thought.
Yeah, the 72nd Street one, I think, is going to sit fallow for a while.
Also, Council Bluffs, I believe. I think Council Bluffs as well. And I think a lot of it is also staffing. I mean, I think there's just not enough people to fill these. There's not enough workers to fill them.
Yeah, especially, warehouse workers are very difficult to come by these days. And I know the big regional one at the two highways, 50 and 370, that one was supposed to employ 1,000 people. That can't be easy to come up with in this market. So we'll keep our eye on that, though. Kind of interesting to see how that all plays out. The Omaha Performing Arts has announced plans to build the Center for Arts Engagement. This is going to be an addition to the Holland Center that will cost more than $100 million. Not a huge addition, but it is 3 stories, looks nice, made of glass. It will be built in part of that grassy area to the east of the Holland Center, and fundraising is underway for this. And this comes out just a few days after Omaha Performing Arts announces that the official opening date for Steelhouse Omaha will be in March. And so that's a $103 million project. So you have $200 million worth of new buildings right by the Holland Center. And I think a lot of people are encouraged by this because you go by and you don't like to see just open, unused spaces downtown. A nice move forward.
It took a while, but it is totally worth it.
Yes, absolutely. And then we have some other news downtown. The Mercantile is the project that is under development on the northern part of the ConAgra campus. And the northernmost ConAgra building has been demolished. There's a project that is wrapping up. Well, it's still got a ways to go, but it's kind of wrapping up right there, a 5-story building called the Brick Line. And that building has 375 apartments, 40,000 square feet of retail space. The apartments are going to start becoming available for occupancy this fall. All of them should be occupied by early next year. Interestingly enough, of the 40,000 square feet of retail space in that building, and that building is right at 10th and Farnham, or 10th Street between Harney and Farnham, about 20,000 feet of it has been leased by 3 restaurants, all owned by the Omaha-based Flagship Restaurant Group. That's the same company that has Flagship Commons in the West Roads. They have Plank downtown, Blue Sushi.
Well, I think they have another concept, and I don't know if I believe it's a new concept, 1202 Howard, which is next to Blue Sushi. They bought that building. It has apartments upstairs. That was the former
Wheatfields?
Wheatfields, yeah.
Do we know what they're going to put in there?
No.
Okay, so there's 4 Flagship restaurants in the Old Market area that we're waiting on for brand names and cuisine types and
But
all that.
that building is huge. That brick line is just massive.
It really is, and it just goes on forever and ever. Brad, you took a really cool aerial photograph of it a couple months ago when you were up in the helicopter, and it really kind of shows just how big it is.
Yeah, it's 2 full city blocks with a parking garage hidden in the middle. And when you're down there now, if you're walking around the mall, you can't even see the end of it from some places because it's so long.
Well, the Mercantile's next project is going to be a 7-story modern timber building. We've talked about these timber buildings in recent months. They're kind of making a big splash. You actually build these buildings out of special timber as opposed to steel beams. They go up faster. They're supposedly better for the environment. They don't cost much more. Noddle Companies is going to build one in the Builders District. This one in the Mercantile is going to be called T3. It's a Hines project. Hines is the real estate company developing the Mercantile. And the T3 stands for Timber Technology and Talent. Going to be about 250,000 square feet. They're not going to start building it till they have about 75,000 square feet of it leased, and they just recently started leasing efforts. But this thing looks really, really cool.
They've got wood.
They've got timber. And also on the Mercantile, a little bit to the southeast of the Chamber building. This is where the Greater Omaha Chamber is located. It used to be one of the ConAgra buildings. There are plans for a condominium building. This would have probably about 250 units. The height of said building has not yet been released. But if you look at the site, if you look at the number of units, I think we're probably going to see something, 14 stories or more, maybe even closer to 20. I don't know. What do you think, Brad? It's hard to estimate because it depends on how
I'm
big the floor plate is.
not sure there.
The only thing I've heard about it is that I've heard a rumor that it's been pushed up actually, and that it's earlier than expected because they want to drive some of those residential sales and residents down to match the retail and the mixed use in the office.
Well, that makes sense. And talking about plans for the Civic Auditorium site, one of the mayor's economic development persons mentioned that several companies complained recently that there weren't enough 24-hour residents in the downtown area. So I could see there being a big push. I mean, we've been pushing for new residents downtown and having a lot of success with it in recent years, but it sounds like there could be an effort to ramp up the speed.
A condo tower there, though, would just be perfect. You could be within walking distance of everything downtown, have the views of the river and the views of downtown. It would be like everything that you like about downtown combined into one, perfect spot.
I hope it goes, but we haven't had a great history with plans for tall apartment condo towers downtown.
I think they've just been in challenged locations, though. I mean, if you think about the riverfront condos,
that was successful.
It was successful, but it's going to be better now that the park and the Luminarium are there.
There's not a lot of amenities around there.
But yeah, when you were out there before, it was just like you're out there and you probably still are driving just to get to where you need to go.
Yeah.
It's a little bit separated.
Whereas one in the Mercantile District would be very, very walkable to the old market and all that. And if you think about the two riverfront towers that you're talking about, those two condos, one of the reasons they may have been successful is the double view, the cityscape on one side, the river on the other. And if you build one at the ConAgra site, you'd have the same deal.
But they've been pushing for like a restaurant or commercial space down there since they were built.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a couple of failed attempts there, but I think now it's what it needed. They've got a touristy sort of attraction. They've got a nice, beautiful park and a lot of connectivity. So I think it's good.
I think there's 2 or 3 lots up there that are for sale or for lease that's been there forever too.
By the
riverfront.
By the river. Oh, further north. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens to those. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.